Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault. We're going to talk about Rocksteady and Warner Brothers today. We just talked about potentially Warner Brothers churning out another Hogwarts Legacy video game. Now it looks like they may be remaking one of a very highly acclaimed game from them, Batman Arkham Asylum. So let's cue to music and we'll talk about it. Alright, so it looks like we've got Rocksteady and Warner Brothers are rumored to be remaking Batman Arkham Asylum after the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League financial disaster. I'm of two minds here, right? They kind of need to clean the palette after that game. That game was absolute garbage. I believe it was supposed to take place in the same universe and all that. Um, so this is one way to back things up and to undo what has been done, I guess. I think Gotham Knights also was supposed to take place in the same universe, and because of the failure of Suicide Squad, we don't hear much about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights also was not a very successful game. That was part of the same thing too, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. There have been so many of these like four-person games that, co-op games and all that. I just can't keep track of them anymore. But, Suicide Squad was an absolute abysmal failure. I think we're in season 4 now, and it's just trudging along. I think this is the final season, and we'll probably see it sunsetted, never to be brought up again. But, I'm of two minds here, right? So I get it. It's probably a smart move for them to reboot this series by doing a remake of this old game, right? This older game. It's not that old, and quite frankly, it still holds up pretty well. Maybe a remaster would be nice, clean it up a little bit, tweak the gameplay a little bit to modernize it and all that. When we talk about remakes, I get worried anymore because remakes can destroy the legacy of an old game sometimes, especially if it's done in a way that's not faithful to the original, right? You get a lot of these remakes where they modernize the game or they update the game for the quote-unquote modern audience, and it's awful. Race swapping characters, gender swapping characters, making characters gay that weren't gay, putting in stuff that doesn't belong there, washing away stuff that they deem offensive these days. There's so many different things that can happen. From changing the look of a character to the color to the gender to whatever, the sexuality. And it can be frustrating for gamers. And it can create a lot of controversy, and it can destroy the sales of a game even before it comes out. So, would they do that? I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully they can if this is what they want to do, hopefully they can stay focused and just put out a decent remake of the game. But I think a remaster would be more than enough at this point. You know what? Remaster, do them all, and then pick it up from there and do a new game. Get a team working on where to go from there and just do some remasters of these older ones to kind of bring them up to the PlayStation 5 Series X era here for the consoles and make them look great and, like I said, modernize the gameplay and all that. But, yeah, so that's the rumor right now. The latest rumor comes from YouTuber Vera Dark, who wrote on X Rocksteady's adding Deathstroke and the real Batman, the one we originally wanted to see in the Suicide Squad kill the Justice League for the last 2 seasons. It seems they are desperate to get players back in the game, but it's too late. Warner Brothers recently spoke about franchises they'd like to focus on, and DC, specifically Batman, was mentioned. So yeah, Deathstroke and the real Batman. Fantastic. She continued, the same sources told me layoffs were incoming months ago, and were correct. They tell me that they've internally greenlit a remake of Arkham Asylum and will potentially be continuing the Arkhamverse with the Origins voice cast. They recently got back together and did Arkham Shadows with Camouflage. So, it's a good source, apparently, so that's fantastic. This is probably going to be a good thing overall. But again, there's so many remakes out there. I feel like we've reached a point in time where gaming is reaching like Hollywood levels of unoriginality, right? where Hollywood everything is either a sequel, a prequel, a reboot, a reimagining, or spin-off, something like that, And I feel like we're hitting the same thing with video games now. There's not very often are we getting new things. And when we do get new things, a lot of times they're not that great, I mean, every now and then something will hit, like Wukong hit big, There's been a few. Stellar Blade was another big hit. So we are seeing some originality and all that, but not from the usual suspects. And that's the thing, right? They're coming from the outside. They're coming from different developers in different parts of the world. So it's kind of interesting here, Warner Brothers, I get it. If you own the rights to Batman, then you damn well better be making some Batman stuff so you don't lose the rights, and you may as well make money off of that IP because you spent a fortune to get it in the first place. Anyway, this is not the first time we've heard a rumor that Rocksteady's returning to Batman. Back in September, a special Nick shared that the company was working on a Batman game. Not sure which studio people's dream is, but I heard Rocksteady are back making it. I also think Sony are trying to money hat it, LOL, he wrote. Okay. In response to another user casting down on it being a new game, he goes, not sure why you doubt it, but I heard a new game. What are they saying here? Arkham Origins Remaster or the Arkham Trilogy PS5 version? Because I doubt it's a new game. So you heard new game. So, yeah, this guy's thinking along the same way I was thinking, right? I could see that, I could see a trilogy version. That would be kind of neat. Anyway, as noted by Dark, she previously shared back in June that Warner Brothers was contemplating shutting down Rocksteady or at the very least having its employees. She wrote on X, while I do not usually speak on insider information I receive, I think this is one we all have pieced together ourselves. Warner Brothers is internally talking about closing Rocksteady or having their 250 employees after Suicide Squad killed the Justice League's bomb, which is understandable. Just last month, David Zaslav announced it lost him over $200 million year over year. She added, I've heavily covered Warner Brothers games and Suicide Squad since release because of what it represented for Warner Brothers games and a beloved franchise. When it was greenlit, we were seeing a giant scramble for studios to create live service games, and this one released too late, plus the content did not resonate with players. And that's the double-edged sword right there. Live service games, I believe, have come and gone, and we've reached a point where the market's oversaturated with them. So anything new that's going out there is just not going to. It's going to have a hard time making a mark and getting a foothold in the market so where it can pick up an audience. It's absolutely going to have a hard time about that because there's too many out there that already have their player base, and people don't want to leave. You don't want to start over in something new. If you're dissatisfied with what you're playing now, there's other good ones out there already that are firmly established. Not only that, but this game was just awful looking. It was absolutely awful looking. I think they gave us a gay Joker. They gave us a gender swap Mr. Freeze to a Mrs. Freeze. They gave us a gender swapped, what was it? Lady Deathstroke, was it? Or something like that? I don't know. It's just one thing after another. It just got worse and worse every season. So this thing was doomed to fail. And I mean, look at this. This looks like Concord or something like that. It's awful looking. Anyway, Dark continued. Rocksteady Studios co-founders and studio heads also departed the company back in 22. Rocksteady's a shell of the company it used to be, and we saw this happen recently with Embracer Group and Volition, a company that had 30 years of experience under their belt, and it sounds as though Warner Brothers is planning to pull the plug on Rocksteady too. They have no other games publicly announced, and there does not seem to be any confidence in them anymore, she observed. Even back in 2016, we got the Batman Arkham VR game that was developed by Rocksteady and the new Batman Arkham Shadow VR game that is being done by Camouflage. Only time will tell. Doesn't seem like the future's very bright for Rocksteady. As it would happen, Warner Brothers Games began laying off Rocksteady employees in September. Tom Phillips at Eurogamer reported that the company laid off over half of its quality assurance department, reducing it from 33 to 15. I remember when that happened. Furthermore, his report claims that the layoffs affect those outside of quality assurance as well, and have affected individuals across the board from junior staff to individuals who have been with the company for over 5 years. What we really need to get rid of is the people that greenlight projects like this, these massive failures. The ones that bring in companies like Sweet Baby Inc. to work with the developers and all that, and greenlight that, and the expenditure of money and effort to do those kind of things, because they never bring anything new to the table that's worthwhile. They only They only destroy games, you know. They make them worse. They don't make them any better. We've watched failure after failure after failure this year, and you know, it's not going to stop right now. But if they're working on a new Batman game, great. Batman was always a favorite superhero of mine as a kid. I would love to see something new. If it's an Arkham Asylum remake, that would be kind of cool. But again, I'm kind of getting tired of remakes. There's so many out there, so many remasters, so many remakes, and I feel like, you know, and this is just me as an older guy now, a guy that's in the second half of his life, 50, you know, going to be 55 in a couple months. I don't have time to play all these new games and then revisit all these old games remade. You know what I mean? I've got to pick and choose now. You know, there's only so many years of life left for me on this planet. So there's that. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. And yeah, I'm curious, would you like to see a remake of this game? Or would you like to see a new Batman game? Remaster of the trilogy? I kind of think the remaster of the trilogy would be kind of neat. That would give somebody, you know, that would give everybody an opportunity to get this nice modern version that they could just buy for X amount of money, and all 3 games, boom, they have them. They can go through them and enjoy them at their leisure. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.